There was a time when your technical ability, just your core competency, was enough. Today, it's a minimum requirement. Going forward, you've got to find creative ways to balance high tech with high touch. As you know, client relationships are dynamic. Critical life events, moments of truth, and milestones occur in your client's life as the relationship unfolds. You've got to find creative ways to pay tribute. Birthdays, anniversaries, and other celebrations require that you send a thoughtful, tasteful card to show them that you're paying attention. And it goes deeper. Think about how you welcome a new client as part of your onboarding process. Think about how you say thanks for an introduction when you receive a referral. And even beyond that, cards that have symbols that explain and show your clients not just what your value is, but what it does. Our friends at Lavish Cards have created an impressive array of very tasteful greeting cards. And I encourage you to visit lavishcards.com. There are no better cards in terms of impact and lasting shelf life. Okay, welcome back. And if by chance you have any questions about our BPS network, let us know. Give us a call. Just for the sake of clarity, I mean, we are known as a coaching and consulting firm. So in essence, we are a vendor of practice management coaching solutions. With BPS, we shift from being a vendor to actually being a partner with our clients. We're actually collaborating with them on their scalable growth. And I have to tell you that these are some of our most meaningful relationships in terms of getting to know our clients even better and savoring in those wins. So if that even remotely resonates with you, please track us down. We'd love to have a conversation about what it looks like to be part of the BPS network. Okay, so this is the finishing segment of the Foresight from 2020 Summit. Again, full circle back to the concept of hindsight. Hindsight's a powerful and sometimes painful part of the human experience, and about the closest you can get to having hindsight in advance, I guess, is just having a real deliberate approach to goal setting and strategic planning, just getting things out of your head. You know the expression, right? Good decisions stem from strong positions. How do you put yourself in a strong position? It's by design. And again, not an exact science, but let's just break some of this down. And I hope that this can remotely resemble a conversation, because this is really a composite of many conversations I've had with some elite people in this field. So I want to start with the concept of true north. Okay, so where is all of this ultimately going for you today and in the future? Well, all roads lead to two words, okay? Conversion and convergence. Now, you know where I stand on advocacy. I mean, we want to convert customers into fully empowering clients, and then clients into referral-generating advocates. You know the old saying, right? It's more important to reach people who count than it is to count the number of people you're reaching. Like these conversations about growing down and growing up market and growing out in terms of your depth and breadth. Probably the most powerful symbol for that is the 3-circle Venn diagram that confirms your addressable audiences with respect to your existing client relationships, the people who are already convinced. So you've heard us say, right? There are people who need you, there are people who deserve you, and then there's that movable middle. So we want to work with and throw the kitchen sink at the most deserving people you've got. And you've got 10, 15, 20 AAA clients now. Then if you move across the Venn diagram, then you have that movable middle. So from AAA to AA and then into the single A, let's reintroduce yourself to that movable middle and see if there's a vein of gold there and move them over. And then let's figure out what to do with those who are in need of your value. But again, the mantra is you don't spend time with people who need you at the expense of the people who deserve you. In the spirit of advocacy. This is how you go to another level of recurring revenue, right? We all know the benefits of a fee-for-service relationship with your clients, right? You don't have to negotiate value. You are managing that relationship and managing that experience and managing their approach to achieving financial independence. That's great. Let's go deeper from the standpoint of creating advocates and making the phone ring. Okay, conversion. Then let's talk about convergence. Convergence occurs the moment you start working on the business. Now you look at conversion, you look at convergence, the word on is in both. Work on the business. Every investment of effort you make goes into the enterprise value, goes into the intellectual property that you're building. So look at this always on icon, okay? You think about your core client experience, pretty much all of them that can fit into either the on-side, on-board, ongoing, or onwards aspect of always on and what it means to be your client. Okay, so back in the beginning, I talked about the 6 to 8 to 10 gaps. That's a really good place to start because that's where your gaps are probably, if you want to think about the low-hanging fruit, that's probably where they are. Okay, but think of everything as being proprietary. Okay, so you think about the standards that are evolving in terms of that relationship between a financial professional and a client. Okay, KYC, know your client. Everything they tell you about themselves, it's proprietary, okay? They don't say that to a prospective client who's trying to lure the relationship away. Capture, chronicle, it's not an intellectual property up here. The moment it's documented, captured, archived into your CRM or toolkit or whatever you happen to use, that's the mindset there. So conversion, convergence, let that be what you start to really focus on throughout the rest of 2020, and then just as a team, work methodically in unlocking another level there going forward. Now, one of my favorite words is Kaizen, okay, the Japanese word, and there's many variations and interpretations, but the way I look at it is Kai is change, Zen is good. Change is good. And the change has to start within. I talked about the book Legacy. It's phenomenal in terms of just looking at the concept of leadership and what it means to build a legacy, something that really endures. If you look at our suggested reading list, and we'll give you a link, there's another book on there that is just so incredibly powerful. It's called Extreme Ownership. And of course, it's just a deep dive on a perspective on personal responsibility. So, best way to take care of your clients, take impeccable care of yourself, right? Can't pour from an empty cup. I'll take care of me for you. Somebody who operates with integrity and stewardship never tries to achieve anything at the expense of someone else. But I can't want it more than somebody else, meaning I have to start with in what I can control. Okay, so let's carry on that theme a little bit further. There's another great book in the theme of Kaizen, and you might have read this book, Jim Collins, Good to Great. Now let me tell you where I'm going with all this, because it is leading somewhere. In Good to Great, Jim Collins asks 3 questions. What can I be the very best at in the world? What drives my economic engine? And what am I deeply passionate about? Now, I'm going to assume that being a fee-for-service professional, that's part of your pursuit. And of course, when I read Good to Great, and I got focused on these 3 questions, it lines up beautifully with Maslow's hierarchy. Now look at those 5 progressions in Maslow's hierarchy. They are stepping stones, all for the purpose of achieving self-actualization, the best version of us. It has to be rooted on first of all, it has to be built on a solid foundation, and then rooted or fueled by a sense of purpose and a calling. Which then incidentally leads us to the study of what is called Ikigai. Ikigai, another Japanese word. And my interpretation of Ikigai is that it's the reason for being, like our reason for being. So you start to tie all of this in. And look at the connections. So the 4 questions around Ikigai. What am I passionate about? What am I good at? What does the world need? And how can I monetize? How can I be compensated? Now, my point in just bringing up these simple reminders is that it starts with us. It's never done. We keep going. We power through. We overcome. We have grit. Little shameless plug here. So Chris and I are working on a new book, and we've been working on this for a while. It's called The Blue Square Method. And you can see this is the manuscript, and it's being reshaped based on this new reality. I'm really glad we didn't try to release this in 2019 or early 2020 because, you know, obviously distractions, but it also forced us to really evaluate the relevance. I mean, does another book on practice management and personal and professional development really need to be written? So, Ikigai, Good to Great, Extreme Ownership, Legacy, I mean, such inspiration. And then, of course, our interactions with our clients. And we call it the Blue Square Method because in the center of that 4-circle Venn diagram is the blue square. That's where we're all trying to go. And of course, you know, the Q in Blue Square Method, from our perspective, speaks to quantitative and qualitative success. Not just how much we earn, but who we become. And so our sort of variation on the Ikigai is these 4 questions for you. Are you doing what you love to do? Is your process driving enterprise value? Are you converting clients to advocates? And are you monetizing fully? Okay, that's our version. And I mean, a lot of that involves quantitative, technical, or a real deliberate approach. But inside that are the 4 qualitative. How's your gratitude? Your sense of purpose? Your fulfillment? Is the business serving your life? Not the other way around? Are you running the business or is it running you? Do you have balance? And beyond work-life balance. So all of this leads me to what I'd like to share with you around the concept of goals and how this can impact your strategic planning going forward with that balance in mind of quantitative, qualitative. When I talk to a brand new client of ours early in the relationship, I'll often ask these 3 questions before we really get into the weeds. I'll ask, are you today where you said you were going to be 5 years ago? And I mean, I have to tell you, I mean, that has led to some phenomenal conversations. And as you can imagine, I mean, some of our clients will say, yeah. Some of our clients will say, no, I've exceeded everything I could have ever hoped for in the last 5 years. Or they'll say, you know, I've fallen short. But the beauty of the question is that it just forces some energy around savoring what you have accomplished. Okay, so just hold that thought. Second question. So that one's looking back, one's looking forward. Next question. What does nirvana look like for you in the next 5 years? I mean, if it all falls out of the sky into your lap beautifully, I mean, serendipitously, it's just absolutely perfect. What does that look like? And, you know, in the spirit of the Socratic irony, I mean, sometimes that requires 2 or 3 questions, like to really pull it out. But the process here, the exercise, is just to force people to think it through and get it out of their heads. Okay, like the beginning of the wish list. And then I wrap up with this third question. And just, you know, incrementally, just imagine the momentum. Third question is, why is all that so important to you? You know, I've talked about Jim Rohn a couple of times today, and one of the things that I really got early in my interactions with him was so many people focus on the how. How do you get this? How do I make more money? How do I grow my business? It's all very meaningful. But he said, when the why is clear, the how will pretty much take care of itself. Purpose is just as important as process. Okay, so from a goal setting perspective, because I don't know about you, but towards the fourth quarter and then the end of the year, I generally start investing the year into the next and start bridging. And one of the things that I've been doing for well over 20 years is buying a journal every year, a blank book. And I've got, you know, it's one of the most valuable things I have is this collection of journals over more than 2 decades, because it shows my progression. And, you know, I can look back and I can just see how things have come together. But a big part of when I start with an empty book and try to start filling it up is I start with my goals. And I want to just share with you my own personal goal setting framework. And just so you know, I've had many clients of ours adapt this, because undoubtedly you are a goals-based planner, right? So you create an alignment between solutions and aspirations. And I don't know how professionalized your approach is. I mean, for some of our clients, it is a massive part of their process. And for many of them, they've adopted this version, what we call W5. Okay, so 5 questions that start with W. And it just gives it a frame. And you'll personalize it and standardize it, but let me just walk you through what that looks like. 5 questions that start with W. Now, you know the origins of W5. Obviously, it's from the world of journalism. Okay? So just indulge me. First question I ask myself. And you just imagine asking yourself or asking a client or asking, team members or asking maybe your kids or people you influence. First question around goal setting. What am I grateful for? So you look at Maslow's hierarchy, the whole concept of security. I mean, it's easy to get so fixated on the future that we trivialize or downplay what we've already got. And I'm pretty sure a big chunk of the world would, kill for my worst day. Easy to take it for granted. What am I grateful for? And write that down panoramically. I know if you do this, you'll go beyond just the economics and the tangible accomplishments. You'll go deep. But the premise here, you think about balance. Balancing appreciation with aspiration. Appreciating what you have while you aspire to what you want. To me, that's your very own version of yin yang. The essence of Zen, right? A Zen lifestyle basically says, I could live to be 100, or it could be all over tomorrow, and live accordingly. That's why the precious present is so powerful. Just as a reminder, what am I grateful for? Okay, so again, just slow life down. Okay, that's the fuel. The fuel for aspiration is appreciation, in my view. Okay, next question. Where do I see myself in the future? Like, create a wish list, get it out of your head, and go deep. Again, quantitative, qualitative. Just remember, and I just was reminded of this recently. A friend sent me a YouTube video, and it was a gentleman talking about the subconscious mind and how the subconscious mind doesn't really know the difference between what's imagined and what's real. And he used the analogy, if you've ever had a really vivid dream, he said that it takes between 15 and 20 seconds to realize it was just a dream after you wake up. I guess the premise here is that creating a panoramic wish list of where you see yourself in the future, it just activates something. You know that saying, right? I'll see it when I believe it. Where do I see myself? So you've got this wish list in front of you. Could have 10 things, could be have 100 things and qualities and all kinds of neat aspirations. Then you look at it and you ask yourself the third question. When do I hope to see all of these things happen? Okay, so it's kind of a trick question, when? And I'll tell you why. Because earlier in my life, I used to put timelines. I used to put 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. And I still kind of do that. But here's what the when question does for me. It reminds me of the dynamic of cause and effect, and how important it is to detach ourselves from an actual expectation of an outcome and just focus on the work. keep our heads down. Activity will lead to productivity. From a spiritual perspective, it helps me remember the dynamic between free will and God's will. You know, like I was saying to one of my kids, our hearts beat 22,000 times a day. You know, don't even have to think about it. It just happens. You know that old saying, right? You want to make God laugh, just tell him your plans. I mean, I just want you to focus on what you can control. Be at peace with outcomes. Be at peace with external dependencies. I mean, look at 2020. Bizarro. But to appreciate the light, we need a little dark, right? To appreciate the warm, we need a little cold. You know what I'm saying. What am I grateful for? Where do I see myself? When do I hope to achieve those goals? Then it gets heavy. Why? Why is all this important? I talked earlier about purpose and process. But, you know, another question is like, as an extension on why is, like, what makes us valuable? Why is this valuable? What makes us valuable? Is it how much we earn? How much we attain? How much we're worth? How big we can get? I'm not downplaying or trivializing any of it. Right? Again, Zig Ziglar said it best. Money's not everything, but it ranks up there with oxygen. Okay? But again, it doesn't make us valuable. That's why the qualitative and the quantitative has to be hand in glove. So just be really thoughtful about your why. And then, the last question, who? Who do I need to become to make all of this a reality? Like, what books do I need to read? What skills do I need to develop or refine? Who do I need to become? Because it starts with you, right? But then, look at your sphere. Look at your inner circle. Look at your bench, your org chart. Who do I need to associate with and lean on and empower and attract? Law of environment. We're products of our environment. You know, I've started playing pickleball. I play better when I play with people who are better. Who do I need to become? Who do I need to associate with? And then part of that is, who do I need to let go and potentially disassociate from? Law of environment works both ways. Clients, you think about AAA, attitudinal disconnects, right? They're asking you to sharpen your pencil. They're always trying to negotiate your value. Micromanaging. Maybe a little draining, right? The fountain in the drain. You know how that works. Disassociating from clients or relationships that are just not bringing out the best in you. And again, I'm not trying to get too and I certainly don't want to come off like I've got it all figured out, because this is a progression. But this just gives it a frame. So, blue square, true north. Where's it all going? That's what I'm hoping 2020 is doing for you. You found the silver linings. You're identifying and making observations around veins of gold and untapped opportunities. You're reimagining your life and your business and your role. And you're heading into the future with immense anticipation, humility, gratitude, and confidence. So with that, I'll just do a quick recap. Another sip of water from the fire hose here. This will all be made archived and available through the Pareto Systems app. So for your iPhone or Android, you can download the always on Pareto Systems, put Pareto in your pocket. It's there. It'll all be modularized, so you can take pieces and share pieces, whatever you like. Make sure you look for me on LinkedIn, Duncan MacPherson. If you're not already there, I'd love to see you there. Look, by the way, we'll start showcasing our network of the BPS community. That old saying, right? There's more buyers than sellers. Well, that's just an opportunity to achieve professional contrast. The most enlightened seller is motivated or fueled by what we call the 3 L's, because it's not just a liquidity event. They're looking for liberation. They still might want to be involved, but just on that work optional, parameter. Liquidity, liberation, legacy. The best person to purchase a business from is someone who is not selling their clients or their AUM or their production and trailing 12. They are entrusting you to ensure that their clients are in good hands. And they're completely at peace with the fact that it's not like their clients are leaving something that was flawed. Their experience will be elevated. And with that, there might be some lift. Whenever something goes into motion, things are revealed, as you know. Anyway, my point was that we'll be sharing and showcasing our BPS network on LinkedIn extensively. I'll share with you when the Blue Square method is going to be approaching prime time. Very, very proud of this. This will be the last business development book I think I write. I'm not sure about Chris, but want to get this one, get it right. So let us know if there's anything you need from us. We've got a whole treasure trove of resources available for you. We'll be sending you some emails and some access links and so on. And with that, I just want to say thank you sincerely for investing your time. I hope you can translate this into an ROI that is meaningful and measurable. And please share with us what's going on. Share with us your setbacks, share with us your successes, and hope to cross paths when I'm back on the road. So thank you. Thank you to our faculty. Thank you for being here. And until we cross paths Make it a great day. All the best as you approach Q4 of 2020 and make 2021 your best year ever. Okay? Thank you.